All right, welcome back to the channel. My name is Steve Perkins. I'm the founder and CEO of Greenhouse Coaching. And this video is all about ditching the funnels that you've tried and you spent money on and have not worked to grow your business, and instead moving to something I call the trust cycle, which is a tried and true way. Especially going into 2026, this is going to be the way to grow your coaching business online. So this video is really for coaches and online educators, creators who want to scale their business, and you do want to make more money, but you're tired of all the abrasive personality gurus, the people who are not your vibe, and they don't seem very genuine, and they're kind of just after making more money. It's like, yes, you do want to make more money. You want to make a lot of money, but you want to be authentic and genuine and truly help people. And so your end goal is more about growing the life that you want through this business and then helping people as well. If you don't know me yet, my background was actually in engineering and the corporate world. And I share the whole story in the video I link at the end here. But I built this company from zero to over 50K a month using the strategies that I share here, as well as the video I link at the end. And I have spent about 9 years now coaching leaders and developing culture in organizations and coaching people through career transition to find their sweet spot. I've built a team. There's over 15 of us now. And we have successfully done this over and over and through the pandemic, which, was tough. We almost didn't make it through that. But I say that because what I want to do is cut through the clutter for you. So I think one of the things I bring from engineering into the world of coaching is a systems mindset. So I worked as an engineer in superconducting particle accelerators and nanotechnology, and I have patents at SC Johnson with the Ziploc company. And I worked in these fields, and so yes, there is a systems thinking that you need in business that coaches don't typically have. And then we pay for all this training and we learn all these funnels and we try this stuff and it doesn't work. We're banging our head against the table wondering why. And it's usually because of one thing, because we're doing all of this busy stuff that's the wrong stuff. And so I'm big on the 80-20 rule. If we can do the 20% that makes 80% of the difference, then that's where you can scale and have the time freed up to do the things you really want to do. So for me, I get it. I have spent over $200,000 in my learning journey on all of the funnel stuff, learning it, testing it, and I have learned a lot of things that did not work. And so really what today I'm doing is boiling down the ocean for you into the 4 simple steps that are actually going to make a difference. So the problem is, as entrepreneurs, we wake up every day, every week, and we're questioning the whole thing. And just as we start to build something and really execute on it, some new idea comes along and we're like, oh, let me try that. What if that's the key? What if that's it? And so we're always changing direction. And we're just, basically what we're doing then is we're depending on our emotion and our motivation every day to get through. So here's the thing. Coaching is a trust-based business. And so you need to build trust. That's what people are buying. That's your product, is trust. But funnels are inherently building mistrust. Because why? Because you're asking people to jump from stranger who doesn't know you, and you could be a total weirdo or scam artist, all the way to paying you thousands of dollars in one step. It's like funnels are expecting you to be ready to buy right when they want you to. And so they build mistrust. But as coaches, if we're selling trust, then we need a system built on trust. And so that's what this is all about, is the trust cycle is something that continues to grow the relationship because you're spending more time with the people in your audience. And you're doing it in a way that's on their terms, not yours. By the way, if you want to know about these videos when they come out, go ahead in the description, get in my email club. Because what I do is I send a message every time a new video drops, so you know about it. You kind of have a summary right there. You can decide if you want to watch it or not. The link is there to just join the email club. If you like this video, then you need to be on that list and do that right away. All right, so let's dive into this, the trust cycle. This is built on 4 pillars that are very simple, very tried and true. If you know anything about marketing, these won't sound that new to you. But first of all, you want to build an audience. You want to nurture relationships with that audience until they are ready to purchase. And then when people get transformation, you want to share their story as a way to continue building audience and building trust. So this is a virtuous cycle that repeats over and over. And let's dive into how it works. So I'm going to give you 80-20 rule. I'm going to give you the few steps, and this is all you need to do, and you can forget about all the other stuff. And then we'll get into the stages of growth and how each of these pieces fit into the stage your business is at. Okay, so for the audience building, what you want to do is have one, yes, you heard it right, one core ad. And this is an ad that calls out to your target audience as specifically as you can and invites them to follow along. Why? Well, because the problem is most of the content CTAs are asking for this huge leap. And it's like, even something like a lead gen now is too big of a leap. Hey, click on this thing, enter your email, download it, and now I know I'm on your list and all this stuff. We want to make it super simple. And what are people used to doing when they like something? They're used to following. So that is the smallest minimum viable product, smallest step that you can ask them to take is just to follow. And it's low risk for them. Like they can unfollow or whatever. And so you're running that ad, and after you get a handle on it and your audience is big enough, then you move to boosted posts. And so what you do with boosted posts, and this is like once you reach maybe 1,000 followers is a good benchmark, then you take your organic content, and every month you look at what were my best performing posts. You boost those. You boost them through the Instagram app on desktop, and you run those as ad tests to your ideal audience. And so what this does is it makes it faster, cheaper, and easier to run ads, because normally you'd have to think about and script, record, edit ads, then load them to the ads manager. It's a lot of work for, 90% or more are going to fail. In this case, you've already pre-tested. Your content already proved out which ones are the best performing, which ones people resonate with. And so now you just run those, and running them's easier. All you have to do is click a couple buttons. In less than 30 seconds, you can have the ad up and running. And so boosted posts are just this brilliant way to run follower ads because it's faster, cheaper, and better. Now, one core thing is the calls to action. So this whole trust cycle, the fuel injection of this is calls to action. Because again, it's about systems. You don't want to just rely on your memory and how you're feeling that day to make sure you do the calls to action frequent enough and in the right way. You want to have this thing systematized. And so each of these steps has a call to action that is scheduled. It's on your content calendar, it's built in. And so for audience building, your call to action is follow. These ads are calling you to follow, and occasionally you might run a DM ad that's leading them directly into a conversation. All right. Now, when somebody follows you, every day you can spend 10 minutes in the morning going through the new follows and the people who engage, and you start a conversation in the DMs. And so this is a great way to start building relationship right off the bat, increasing engagement on your account, which helps in the algorithm. And the beauty is these conversations sometimes lead directly to clients, because somewhere between 90 and 100, between 0 and 10% of these followers are going to be ready and willing and wanting to work with you. And so you start the conversations, and you have kind of a templated flow of how you guide those conversations, just like you would in real life. All right, so now we move over to nurture. I've never really liked this word. It feels weird to me somehow. But essentially we're talking about building the relationship. We're talking about spending time together. And this is why funnels don't work, because you're not spending enough time with them until they're ready. But on the flip side, if you are just building a brand, kind of like car commercials, and just trying to create awareness of your brand so when they're ready, they'll buy, there's also no prompt, there's no call to action, there's no activating people. And so what's brilliant here in the nurture section is you're doing both brand building and spending time together and prompting over and over through a scheduled way for them to take the next step. So what does this look like? First of all, short form posts. So on Instagram, you're posting 5 to 7 times a week, and they're seeing those posts. If your business has a kind of a lifestyle component, you might have stories in there, so they're getting to know you and seeing that you're a real person. But the short form posts are nurturing the relationship. And then, because now not all of your posts reach your followers, one trick here is to also put like $1 to $5 a day into retargeting ads, where you're sending those posts to the people who follow you only. And you can do that within the Facebook Ads Manager. All right, so they're getting the short form. And then you also have long form, which is really where you can go deeper with them. They're learning, they're seeing what it's like to work with you in a sense. And this is where you're really sharing everything you have to offer with them. Just like I'm doing here. I'm not holding any knowledge back. It's not like paywall gated, like you have to pay in order to get this information. Information's free now. So share everything you know, give them everything you have, and that'll build this trust more and more and more until they're ready to buy, because what they pay for is help with implementation and the brand association and the proximity of being closer to you and being able to be a part of the community, being able to have access to you and your thoughts. That's what they're paying for. So you don't hold anything back. Now, a trick right here is every time you post a video, you also send it to the email list. And so this is great because now you can also nurture via email, which is still one of the primary channels for sales and conversion. And so again, like for me here, if you want to make sure you get all these videos and get some other good stuff, get on my email club. The link is in the description. All right, here's a little trick of the trade. In every one of your posts, have the same call to action that leads people to the primary video, your core video that explains your methodology and how you do things. And so in every short form post over here, you want to call to action, hey, comment the word, for me it's builder. Comment the word builder and I'll give you the video that goes over this whole thing. And so what you can do is have an automation like ManyChat where when they comment that, they get straight to your YouTube. So they see your core video, they can subscribe to your YouTube, and in the process get in your email list. And it's just a nice little hack that gets all those things growing together. And then like we talked about, you want to start the DM conversations right when they follow or when they like or comment. Any kind of signal of their engagement is an opener for you to start DM conversations. Now, what is the CTA for this nurture step? Well, the CTA is, let me get rid of some of this fluff here. The CTA is to DM a trigger word. So again, for me, mine is grow 20. So at the end of every long form video and email, I say, DM me on Instagram the word grow 20, and I'll give you all the information about what it looks like to work with me. And when you do that, you get an offer document that shares all the information, objections, Q&A, everything you could need. And so again, it's scheduled. Every piece of content has this, so people, when they are ready, they know what step to take and how to advance in the process. All right, now we're moving from nurture down to purchase. So the problem here is they're too busy, they're overwhelmed. That's why they need you as a coach to begin with. And so what we want to do is, like I said, have that core offer documented really nicely, all the information they could need. And you want to create some kind of urgency by having, let's say, once a month, you're opening the doors for people to join your program. And if you have yours built as like a hybrid kind of group model, then this allows you to open the doors once in a while, but keep growing the number of people who are in it. You can also have an entry-level offer where you have a scheduled CTA to that, whether it's a one-time workshop or mini courses or some kind of lead generator that just gets them paying a small amount, experiencing you, and getting more comfortable with paying you a bigger amount. So the call to action here, you get them signed up so you can deliver that transformation. So then, of course, they've experienced the transformation, and this is the piece a lot of people miss, is actually sharing the story. And in order to do that, you got to capture it. So you want to capture their experiences and their wins along the way, so you can share those out. And those can also be small things like Instagram stories or small testimonials. But you also want to have a solid bank of some case studies where you're interviewing them about how were they stuck when they came to you, what was the process like working with you, and what was the result and the transformation afterward. This gets around the problem of manufactured testimonials. They're like, Steve is awesome and he changed my life. It's like, no. What we want to know is the actual what happened. And through hearing that, I know that, okay, Steve is actually great at what he does. He does get you real results. And like, I'm kind of like that person. And so I think this will work for me. So you capture those stories, and now you have some of the best kind of marketing collateral to keep building your audience and keep building the trust. So call to action there is, hey, can I interview you and share your story with my audience? And this is also a great thing to do early on in exchange for a discount when you're trying to build up those initial clients. So, all right, this is the trust cycle. And now we can move people step by step when they're ready. And it's not overwhelm of trying all the new latest trends. It's just sticking to this over time. All right, so let's talk about the stages. Like, how do each of these pieces look in the different stages of business? And so stage 0 is all about gaining skills. Stage 1, all about conversations. Stage 2 is about content. And stage 3 about scale. So stage 0, this is like $0 to $1,000 a month. And this is really where you're gaining the skills you need to do this business. So if you're watching this, you probably have already completed this stage, and maybe a long time ago. But this is where you're doing the training, getting the certification. In order to get your first batch of clients, you can do market research and interview people to understand their pain points and their desires. And you do it to get insight that drives your branding and your program, as well as to understand their language, which goes into your marketing. So in this stage, you're really developing your approach. You're starting to test out your methods. And financially, you might have your own self-funded runway. This is how I did it. But in some ways, I wish I would have done a side job or coached on a platform to just have some income happening, so I'm not just draining the bank. And so you might have a side job or coach with a platform. There's so many of them now. And then in this stage, you're probably establishing the different accounts and assets you need. So that's stage 0. Stage 1, this is all about conversations, because from about $1,000 to $10,000 a month, your income will come completely from the people connected in your network. You do not need to be doing all of this social media and spending money on all these things yet. Really, what it comes down to is what I call 6 degrees of separation. And so what you do is you start with a few people who know, like, and trust you. You prepare how to explain what you're doing and have a crisp ask, and you ask them to connect you to someone else. And so you're not looking to get them as clients. That's the big mistake. What you're doing is looking to get more connections, because you know that 6 degrees of separation later, you're going to meet the person who's ready and wanting to work with someone like you. And so I go through it in detail in the other video, but you basically start with what I call first 5 friends, and then each week add 5 more people. And the conversations snowball because one leads to another. It's kind of like a domino effect. You can also use that market research and go back and offer to those people your program in exchange for 3 things: a review, a referral, and a case study. So you're starting to build up those pieces that you need as main assets, and they're happy because they get a discount in exchange. But other than that, these conversations lead to what I call coach before the coaching. And so you're having this this kind of sales conversation, but you don't have to sell at all. You just use your coaching skills to guide them and understand what they're trying to accomplish, what's keeping them stuck, and you help them lead themselves to the answer of how they want to invest in themselves. So now you're getting those first paying clients, and this can happen this can happen in as short as 30 days. When people join my accelerator, I promise in 90 days you are going to get these first paying clients. And you're probably structuring it as like a 6-month engagement of working with people one-on-one. This is really going to ramp up how you understand your ideal client and refine your offering and your methodology. So here's the deal with the digital and social media side. In stage 1, if you want to start building the foundations, you have the time, the capacity, you're eager, this is what I would do. I would post 3 times a week on your primary short form platform, Instagram, or if you're B2B, LinkedIn. Once you have, through those first clients or your own runway, once you have about $500 a month to spend on ads, I would run that first Instagram follower ad at about $20 a day. This is going to start building up your audience, which builds your credibility and starts laying the foundation for growth and scaling. And then I would build your core assets, which is the core video on YouTube that describes your whole framework, the case study interviews, and then really defining your signature system that you use in your program. So that will lay the foundation. You don't need to do anything else. Like, that's all you need. So then in stage 2, when we're moving from like 10K to 30K a month, you can start scaling up these online activities. And just to note, like, some people they're going to scale their business through more like big corporate contracts. And that's how I started out. But either way, this applies. So I also just want to note at this stage, you want to start spending and investing in your mentorship and your education. Because this is where things start getting real, and you need to be learning, you need to be adapting, you need to be taking in things from people who have gone further along than you. All right, so you're continuing in stage 1 to do your weekly next 5, always doing that BD, 6 degrees of separation. You're having those coach before the coaching conversations, and now your full paying clients, they're paying your full rate, and you're working with them in something more like a 12-month engagement where you're shifting from one-on-one only to having this hybrid group model, because the hybrid model allows you to scale. So social media, your trust cycle starts to kick in here. You're doing 5 posts a week on Instagram. You've got your ManyChat call to action to your core video. So every post is leading people to that core video on YouTube, which hopefully they subscribe, and now they're on your email list. And you're sending a weekly long form video to your email list. And the beauty here is you get to be what most coaches are great at, is long-winded. YouTube is built for long form, and that's where you're going to build trust. So you don't have to try and chop it down and be really brief and cut out the nuance. You get to deliver that like I am right here, because Long form is built for that, and people want it. This is where they want to learn all the nuance and detail. And so you can go into that. Now you're scaling your ads to about $100 a day, or whatever your target spend is. And this is where you're switching to boosting your high performing posts instead of just that follower ad. So every day you're starting new conversations in the DMs. You're always trying to bring closure to those conversations systematically and move people when they want it to the offer document or the discovery calls. All right, at this stage, you also want to collect data. That's going to come in really handy later. So as your clients are working through your system, you want to collect data on what's happening, who's your ideal fit, what kind of results they're getting when, and you're going to be narrowing down your target persona to that perfect client. It kind of takes time. I mean, it took me like 6 years to figure out who my target client really was. Hopefully you're faster than that because of videos like this, but it took me so long. So then finally, stage 3 is all about scale, and that's like the 30K to 100K a month plus. And this is where you're starting to multiply yourself. You need to hire virtual assistant if you haven't yet, content editor, maybe a closer if you've got discovery calls. You need to start leveling up your systems. You cannot operate on the fly, on a whim, not know where documents are, hope that it's like you got to have systems at this point to be a real business, a real company. And again, like you're investing a lot now in mentorship and coaching of your own. But here's the fun part. At this stage, you can start offering experiences because now you have the profitability and you have the audience to draw from of people who want to go deeper and spend more. So this to me is like holy grail for my business. My dream has always been offer amazing retreats where you're not like conferences where it's just pummeled with information, then you're exhausted, you go home, you can't implement any of it. Not to mention, like if you're married, your spouse wasn't there, so you're all excited and telling them the stuff, and then they have no idea what you're talking about, so it's kind of like driving a wedge between you. Conferences are fine, but we don't need more of those. We need spaces where you can get away. You can breathe, relax, in beautiful locations. For me, I'm going to have more and more of these where you've got like 5-star food. You've got your own personal coach. You can text, hey, let's go talk by the fire pit. It's like this amazing experience, unforgettable. You can't wait to go back. But even just like meetups, in-person meetups, as AI comes more and more into the picture, this is what people are going to want. So at this stage, you can offer experiences of different kinds. And then you're probably scaling your ad spend to something like 500 a day or more. All right, so just like I'm talking about in this trust cycle, if this is resonating with where you're at, you're like, I want to grow my business. I need to kick this thing in motion. I want to declutter all the distractions and get a system working over and over and over while I sleep, while I'm with my clients, while I'm doing fun things. Then go over on Instagram, DM me the word grow20, and I'll send you all the information of what it looks like. And my Instagram is in the description here. It's Coach Business Builder, Coach_business_builder. But again, this is the trust cycle, folks. So we are building audience on autopilot, reaching the right people. We are then spending lots of time with them through short form to long form with automated triggers that get people to those places. Then when they're ready, they know how to purchase from us, and we're not exhausting ourselves with so many sales calls and trying to chase clients down. And then we're delivering awesome results and sharing those stories. This just feels really good. I mean, let me tell you, I've tried almost everything out there. This feels so good, and it's entirely different than any funnel I've ever tried. So the trust cycle, and if you want more information, especially on stage 1 and stage 2, then I'll link the video right here that I've been referencing all along. All right, we will see you in the next one.